closer to one of Michael's records last night.
He sure did. LeBron and the Lakers taking on the Pacers. LeBron, now check this out, 10-plus points in 1,282 straight games and came into the fourth with 0 made field goals. Last time that happened for him 2 decades ago, and LeBron, that 10-point streak going back to 2007. Okay, now he's 5 points away from 10. Yes, from 10 in the fourth. Mid-range jumpers, like somebody said to him, LeBron, get 10. And so he's like, okay, that's what I do. Now he's 3 points away, and right there, he got it. Keeping the streak alive, 13 points, 13 boards. Kind of a rough shooting night for him. Lakers up 13, but Pacers came back. Luka's got to get him this 3 to tie. And now the Lakers tied up at 110. Next Lakers possession, Luka having his way with the D, driving in, getting it to go off glass. Game high 34 for him. Under a minute left in the fourth. Tyrese Halliburton, Pacers down 2. Gets the bucket and gets fouled, would hit the free throw. So Pacers up 1. 10 seconds left in regulation. Lakers down 1. LeBron getting it to Luka. Luka, win it. No, the miss. Bron, tip in, buzzer beater, ball game. Halliburton's like, what just happened? Well, I'll show you. Here's the replay. Pacers defenders all over Doncic, leaving LeBron all alone to get the game winner. Lakers win it by 1. His first game-winning buzzer beater as a Laker. How'd it feel?
To be honest, I didn't know how it felt because I was just trying to see if I was trying to look at the jumbotron to see if I got it off. But this team has been playing extremely well in the Pacers, man, and we haven't been the last few games. So it was great to come into a hostile environment and get a win in that fashion.
That's a fashionable win indeed. LeBron James' 8th career game-winning buzzer beater, tying Kobe Bryant and Joe Johnson for the 2nd most in NBA history, including the playoffs. Who's got the most? Well, you know, MJ with 9. But LeBron's working on that. Well, entering Wednesday's game, he was 0 for 18 on potential go-ahead shots in the final 10 seconds of the fourth quarter or overtime with the Lakers. And, man, he got clutch last night. Lakers reporter Dave McMenamin, Anscape's David Dennis Jr. joining us. Dave, you were in the building last night. There was a point where it looked like it would be one of the worst losses of the season for the Lakers. Then LeBron saves the day. What was the reaction afterwards?
Yeah, Ryan, so I'm in the locker room afterwards, and I'm chit-chatting with LeBron, and we mentioned someone signing a 5-year contract. And Austin Reeves, who is at an adjacent locker, kind of his ears perk up and goes, "What's that, champ? You say you're going to play 5 more years? That's great. It's great news. I want to keep playing with you." He's doing things like this on a nightly basis at age 40, year 22, that make you believe things like that are possible. Last night, he looked as mortal as we've seen him through 3 quarters. It's the only time in 1,553 career games that he's played in the NBA where he did not score a field goal through the first 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, he drops 10 points. He leads the team in rebounding. Obviously, has the presence of mind to not only set up Luka Doncic with a pass leading to the final shot, but position himself to get the tip in. And now this team gets a much needed release of tension and pressure that had been building up. I talked to Gabe Vincent, the Lakers role player, afterwards, and he said, "Yeah, that was ugly, but when you need the win like you need your next breath, it doesn't matter how ugly it is."
Yeah, indeed. They got off the skid. And J.J. Redick even talked about LeBron kept it up on defense despite the tough offensive night, and he got rewarded by the basketball gods. All right, so David, what was your biggest takeaway from last night's win?
Well, first on the Indiana side, if you're Indianapolis, you may want to have crisis managers when LeBron comes to town. The dude has hit game winners in 3 different jerseys against that team. That just seems like cruel work. But if you're the Lakers, long-term, this is sort of the tightrope that they are walking. On the offensive side, down the stretch, LeBron and Luka just figured this thing out. LeBron did not have that field goal in the first 3 quarters, as Dave mentioned. 10 points in that fourth quarter, was able to come through in the clutch. Luka was front rimming a lot of shots offensively, but he came through with a 3-pointer and a layup down the stretch. You got to believe that offensively they can figure that stuff out. But on the defensive end, here's your big concern. Indiana was hunting Luka on the defensive end. Halliburton was blowing right past him. Mathurin was blowing right past him. If you're going to have defenses where Jackson Hayes is not on the court, it's going to look like a layup line. So if you're the Lakers, you have to figure out that balance of trusting that LeBron and Luka offensively are going to figure this thing out down the stretch, while also trying to make up for the fact that if Luka's tired and he's putting up those minutes, defensively, he is still a liability in those ISO situations.
All right, so Dave, based on what David just said, what is the Lakers' level of concern on D at this point?
I mean, certainly that is what they've been drilling down during this downturn that they've had, that they need to get back to having a strong defense. That's what led them to that 8-game winning streak. That's what led them to a 20-4 record over a 24-game span, which allowed them to skyrocket up the Western Conference standings. And they believe that is their standard. Now, it was very interesting to hear LeBron last night basically say that he knows he just has to contribute in different ways for this team compared to other teams he's been on. Now, that could mean less offense and saving some of his energy for defense, but it's not just LeBron that needs to be better on the defensive end. Last night, you had Jackson Hayes in foul trouble. That's one of his responsibilities, to stay out of foul trouble so he can stay on the court and help them defensively. Someone like Luka Doncic, obviously, there's been some discussion about him needing to leave a play on the other end if he doesn't like a call that he doesn't get on offense, be ready to reset and bring his defensive attention to the other end. So there are little things they need to tweak, but they believe if they're going to win big, it's going to be on the defensive end in the postseason.
Yeah, they got to get it going defensively, especially if they want to win in the playoffs. Let's see if they can keep their wins going. They're in Chicago to face the Bulls tonight. David, thanks, guys.
Keep it rolling. In basketball, we got the Bucks, we got the Nuggets. Nikola Jokic, yes. Giannis, no. He's out with a left foot sprain, so Jokic went to work. Woo. Hold on, look at his find to Aaron Gordon.
Still kicking.
Brook Lopez maybe still hasn't seen it. It's one of 10 dimes for Jokic. Look at Big Honey get to the rim. Denver had lost 3 of 4. Jokic seemingly on a mission to correct that. Schneid banking that home. Nuggets were up by 6 heading into the fourth. It was tight. Nuggets up 6 here, and Jokic working on A.J. Green. I don't know exactly what got Doc Rivers so upset, but he is incensed. He wants a foul. He's probably back on the offensive end, but he is just getting his money's worth, trying to spark his squad. Did not work. Spoiler alert. It's Jokic to Peyton Watson. Jokic went for 39 points, 10 rebounds, 10 dimes, his 30th triple-double of the season. Only 3 others have done it more often in a single season. Russ, Oscar, and Wilt, and they are on your screen right now. How about the irony through both player movement and Russ just seeming to struggle to find a long-term home that Jokic and Russ are now.
A lot to digest. All right, let's pick up where we left off here. If you were with us previously, thank you. If not, go back on the podcast and listen wherever you find your podcasts. LeBron James on with Pat McAfee yesterday and explained his issue with the great Stephen A. Smith and other people who cover the game of basketball.
Never would I ever not allow people to talk about the sport, criticize players about what they do on the court. That is your job, to criticize or to be in a position where, okay, if a guy's not performing, that is all part of the game. That's all part of the game. But when you take it and you get personal with it, it's my job to not only protect my damn household, but protect the players. And I think a lot of the media, including him, and I know he's gonna be happy as hell. He's going to be smiling from ear to ear when he hears me talking about it again. Oh, my God. He's going to get home and grab some ice cream out of the freezer and sit in his chair and his tighty whities on the couch.
Let's be clear about one thing. It's not about protecting other players. It's about shielding himself from any form of criticism, and that's what this is about, right? Now, Stephen A. criticized LeBron James when it came up with the whole Bronny situation because he felt like he was doing a disservice for Bronny, who needed to spend time in the G League to get more seasoning rather than being on an NBA roster. But for the opportunity to have the father-son moment, it seems like it was more about LeBron James being able to share that with his son than it was about doing what's in the best interest of Bronny. And so LeBron took that as a criticism from Stephen A. about his parenting style. I can understand how you can conflate the two. I get it. But I thought LeBron addressed that when he rolled up on Stephen A. at the Lakers game. I thought that was over with. Why do we now have to continue with this public spat, this public feud? See, this is the part that gets me fired up about it, because you're talking about two titans in sports culture, two titans in the black community that have done so much for people. And in the time and space that we exist in right now, where they're rolling back DEI and they're doing things that aren't necessarily in the interest of uplifting the black community, these two public figures that have done so much for the black community continue to fight in such a public way that it's embarrassing. And I don't understand the need for it. I don't. Who needs the visual of Stephen A. at his home going to get ice cream and sitting in his whitey tighties? Who's thinking about that? Nobody except for LeBron James. Why do we need to continue to take those types of shots at Stephen A.? Why is it necessary? It's absolutely ridiculous. So I got to call BS on LeBron James because it's not about protecting what's in the best interest of NBA players. It's about shielding yourself from any form of criticism. And in the fallout of the weak sauce move of rolling up on Stephen A. at the game like you're going to do something to him when we know you're not, you wanted to do something that changed the narrative, counter-programming as you will. And this was your opportunity to give Stephen A. the one-finger salute on a show that's on our network, following First Take.
Mm-hmm. For sure. This is a delicate topic, and it has been, because I'm not a parent. You're a parent, Evan. You're the only parent here on this set. You do everything you can to put your children in the best position for them to succeed. And of course, as a father, you protect your kids. That's what you do. It's the top line of the resume when you become a dad. You need to protect your family. You need to protect your children. So I understand LeBron James having a visceral reaction to what he deems to be an attack on his parenting style and by proxy, what his kid is doing. But the issue that I have with it is